Imagine a world in which love is the only motivator, where everyone you meet is truthful and integral, where what they say, what they do, what they feel, what they are, how they behave, all lines up. It's all the same. In such a world, it would be safe to trust everyone. Imagine a world in which we all lovingly support one another, to empower each other, to reach for our highest good. Imagine a world where everyone seeks to find and then to express their greatest gift. A world where there is no judgment, only discernment. Imagine a world where everyone loves and respects Mother Earth, such that it becomes a place of abundant beauty, unspoilt and natural. Imagine a world where you always feel connected, where you always feel belonging, where you always feel at one with yourself and with everyone around you, where you are always at peace. Is it possible for us to live in such a world? Can we even imagine it? Is it possible for us to create such a world? I very much believe we can. In fact, I believe that this world already exists, that it's just a whisper away from the world we're currently inhabiting. And I do believe that we can find our way there, those of us that want to. It's the world of unity consciousness. It's a world where everyone knows that they are one with each other, one with life, one with the planet, one with the divine. But before I get into that, before I get into what unity consciousness is and how we can create such a world or find our way there, I'd like to take a small step back and talk about truth. We need to deal with the issue of truth before we can deal with an issue of what we can believe. So bear with me just for a moment. So what is the truth? Usually people seem to think it's something that you can prove. Anything that you can prove, that you cannot doubt, must be true. So let's look at that. What can we prove beyond all possible doubt? I'd like to make the perhaps surprising contention that there is nothing we can prove beyond all possible doubt. Let's use science as an example. Science is an endeavor, a rather serious endeavor, to explain our reality and to prove things about it so that we can give up on doubt. And yet, science never actually accomplishes this. It offers us theories that fits the data available, data about our world around us. But if we test these hypotheses experimentally, and it continues to fit the data under a variety of different circumstances, in many laboratories across the world, the same data comes up, then we start to call it proof. We start to say it's scientific fact. But the reality is that the scientific facts of yesterday become the scientific untruths of tomorrow. As new data becomes available, as we test the same data under different conditions, we discover that these things are less true and then no longer true. And the scientific facts of today have the same fate awaiting them. So much for proof and facts from science. And where are we now with science? What does science currently hold to be true? The fundamental building blocks of science, the most essential elements upon which all the theories that science put forth are based upon. Things like time, space, matter, energy, light, gravity. These are the very, very basic building blocks. You can't really explain a scientific theory about our reality without invoking these things. And yet, when we dig a little bit, we realize we know nothing about these most basic building blocks. Do yourself a favor. See if you can find a valid scientific definition of what time is, or even just a description of how it works. You'll be quite surprised you won't find one, because there isn't one. No one knows what time is. And yet almost every physics theory or experiment is predicated on some point on measuring or defining something in relation to time. So what is the value of a proof if we don't know anything about that which the proof is based upon? And the same thing is true for matter. We don't know what matter is. Here I am, a being made of matter, sitting on a chair made of matter, with a dog at my feet, made of matter. What is matter? Sure, molecules, atoms. Smaller than that, it's subatomic particles. But what are these subatomic particles? We discover that the subatomic particles have no mass. They weigh nothing. The Large Hadron Collider in CERN is endeavoring to find what they call the God particle. They hope they will find this essential missing element which will give mass to subatomic particles, which will allow for the particles we know of, electrons and protons, to actually have mass. Because without this missing God particle, we don't know why mass has mass. It shouldn't. So what does that mean? It means we have theories and postulations and ideas, but the deeper we dig, the further we go, the more we realize that there is something missing that we don't know. And this is how it will continue with science. Science can give us wonderful data about how our reality behaves under certain circumstances. But if you're looking for proof, if you're looking for a place where you can go to and say there is no further doubt, unfortunately science will not provide it to you. So much for science, if we're looking for the truth. But has any other endeavor done any better? What about religion? Religion's been around a little longer than science. It's had many thousands of years to give us the truth. But is there anything that we cannot doubt in religion? I would argue quite the opposite. We often call religion faith, because we've got to believe it without proof. And if any religion had been able to provide us with proof that we could not doubt, well then all right-thinking individuals would have to go, they've hit it, they've got the truth, we can't doubt it, best we join them and believe what they do. But the exact opposite happens. Every religion, as soon as it's formed, seems to schism into people who are disagreeing from somebody else, and you have a church of 1,000 people. Somehow there are 1,000 different truths in that church being held together by some common element of faith. So religion doesn't seem to have it. Some of the most rational, clear-thinking individuals I know are atheists. In fact, I find atheism to be the only logically, rationally defensible position. If you exclude faith, if you exclude feeling, if you exclude that which you hope to be true, then what do we have? Can we prove God? Apparently not, or they wouldn't be atheists. So where science has failed to prove anything to us, religion has also failed to prove. So let's see if we can do any better. Right here, you and me. Can you prove something to me that I absolutely cannot doubt? I put it to you that you can't. I've had some pretty vivid dreams in my life. I've woken up in the morning and almost felt a loss, almost felt mourning for the fact that this reality, the people I was engaging with, the things I was doing are gone. Where did they go? Vivid dreams like that. I'm sure you've had such dreams too. And equally, I've had dreams where I've woken up and thank God that dream is over, because it was quite frightening. It was terrible. It was a nightmare. So if dreams can be as real as that, is it possible that this whole experience I'm having now is just an extremely vivid dream? It could be. In which case, even if you were right here sitting opposite me, it might be that you are simply my dream. As it might be that you watching this video, it's simply your dream. There was a guy, an old guy, I used to drive past him as I commuted to work in the morning. And as I drove past him, he was having violent arguments with road signs. He would be shouting angrily at a road sign. And I never got to know him or got to know his story. But from where I sat in my car driving past him, it looked like he was very, very convinced that there was somebody that he was engaging with. Now, we call that names. We call it insanity. We say he's had problems with emotional stability, or his reality was warped or something like that. But how do I know that my reality isn't similarly warped, that I'm imagining myself talking to this video camera in front of me? How do you know that yours isn't, that you're just imagining, hallucinating me? There was the movie The Matrix. I'm sure you saw the series that postulated that it was all a complex computer simulation. Now, I'm sure I don't have to come up with other scenarios. I'm sure you'll understand what I'm trying to get at. What I'm saying is that it is entirely possible for me to doubt your existence as it is for you to doubt mine. Now, if I doubt your existence, what am I going to do with you telling me stuff about your experience or trying to prove things to me from this position of maybe you don't even exist? So then what can we prove? Very, very famous philosopher, René Descartes, said, I think, therefore I am. That was his answer to this question about what I can prove. Basically, he was saying that he could prove that he existed. As if I use his postulate, I can prove that I exist because I think. I would take it a little further. I've managed in meditations to stop thinking, really cease all thought. And it's a very interesting experience. I tell you, I don't stop being. My being expands when I stop thinking. So I would say more than that, simply, I am. That's what I hold to be true. I exist. Anything beyond that is story, experience, ideas, noise, details. And so, if nothing is ultimately provable, doesn't it seem that the very idea of proof itself is redundant? Can I not instead see that the things that appear to me to be true are just that? They are things that appear to be true as a result of my experiences. And maybe at some point the things that I now hold to be true, I will come to realize are less true or not at all true. Maybe my truth is something that can change. And maybe I can also see that the things that are true for you and the things that are true for me need not necessarily be the same. If we have different truths, maybe we don't need to fight about them. Maybe I don't need to beat you into submission, into agreeing with me, so that I can feel okay about my truths. We don't have to share truths, and we don't have to manipulate each other into sharing truths. Because ultimately, the things we hold to be true are just the things we have decided to believe. Interesting thought. Based upon what have we decided to believe the things we believe? All kinds of input. For example, truth based upon consensus. It's a good one. If I were to suddenly see a spaceship coming down out of the sky and got terribly excited about it, and you were sitting here next to me and you saw the same spaceship, and we had our family and friends around us and we all saw the spaceship, we'd go, wow, a spaceship, amazing stuff. And we would say, it's true, we saw a spaceship. And we'd look each other in the eye and we'd agree, it's true, we saw a spaceship.